Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens in the studio. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 192 this
Oh my
week.
gosh, we've almost hit 200 of
I
these.
know. It's crazy. Several years because we don't do them every week, but almost every week. Either way, this pick was mine. It is a documentary called The Brat Pack. And it's a pretty cool little trip down memory lane.
Oh, it was great. It was wonderful. Good pick, Mike.
In these next few breaks, I kind of wanted to discuss our opinions on some of these Brat Pack members. Now, if you go and look on Wikipedia, there is an official membership list of the Brat Pack, and that includes Emilio Estevez, Anthony Michael Hall, Rob Lowe, Andrew McCarthy, Demi Moore, Judd Nelson, Molly Ringwood, and Ali Sheedy. Now, there are others that kind of fit in there. James Spader, of course, Robert Downey Jr.
Right.
Some guys mentioned Tom Cruise, Charlie Sheen, obviously, because his relationship to Emilio. There are some others.
Brat Pack adjacent.
That kind of like, John Cryer, Kevin Bacon,
right,
Matthew Broderick, Joan and John
who's
Cusack.
the other kid?
Nick Cage could actually be in there too, because he was a kid when this stuff. Sean Penn, Kiefer, Leah Thompson. So,
gosh, man, wow.
While there is a official list, I think, and that really has to do with the Breakfast Club and St. Elmo's Fire, that's kind of the prerequisite for the core Brat Pack members. So if we kind of go off topic, it's because we're confused. It's really a confusing topic. But as far as members go, who is your favorite member of the Brat Pack?
Well, I mean, I would probably have to go with Rob Lowe because he's such a good-looking dude. Still to this day, he's so good-looking. He hasn't aged. But I mean, I always liked the Judd Nelson vibe. Kind of the quieter, kind of cool guy from Breakfast Club. I mean, my Brat Pack, like if I had to write them down, it would be a pretty small list, I think. But after watching this documentary, I do see that it was kind of a bigger list of people.
Yeah, then, and again, I think it also is something that we identify. You know what I mean? Like when you're talking in
there was one for every type of high school person. There was kind of
like
one vibe.
Our own subjectivity to the whole thing. For example, like
that's why I'm Rob Lowe.
Or you feel like it, which is funny to me that you would identify the most with Benjamin Cain from Wayne's World, but I guarantee you don't know how to speak Mandarin. Either way, my personal favorite, I would probably have to go with Emilio, because I love Repo Man. That's like one of my favorite movies. Have you ever seen Repo Man?
I don't think I did.
Dude, you should watch it.
Yeah, it's really I've heard
good.
about that.
It's kind of like
kind of a cult classic, I feel like, right?
It's kind of like what was that sci-fi movie with John Lithgow? And it's Buckaroo Banzai. It's like it's not as crazy as Buckaroo Banzai, because Buckaroo Banzai is insane. But it's kind of got the same vibes. Like it's off kilter a little bit. It's definitely cool.
Shout out to him for using a different name because he didn't want to ride the coattails of his dad.
Well,
that's a balls move,
something
dude.
that you brought up too. After watching this, I don't know if it was because of this or what, but someone showed the high school picture, because Emilio's like 3 years older than Charlie. And Charlie went through, I think he was known as Carlos Estevez when he was in high school. And I think he didn't start calling himself Charlie to his senior year, but it was awesome to see them in their senior pictures, and he
looks just like his dad now. By the way, Emilio looks just like his dad now.
He's
dude.
Aged more
it's
towards
crazy,
that. Yeah. But Repo Man, of course, the Young Gun series, a big partial to that.
Young Guns,
it's
Blaze of Glory.
Growing up, I liked these movies. Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, St. Elmo's Fire, and stuff. But I didn't really tie in with me because I wasn't that old in the 80s. I remember him as a kid, Pretty in Pink, all that stuff. But again. It's probably more relative to you than me.
Yeah.
Because and even then you were kind
my
of
era. I was in high school.
You were already, you were on your way out, kind of. So you were kind of on the cusp. You are a member of the Brat Pack.
I am.
Kind of.
I love it.
We'll figure this out.
I'll accept that moniker. It sounds like some of the Brat Pack didn't accept that moniker.
Some of them didn't.
That was a good tease right there for the next break.
Like they were typecast, and we'll talk about that next. Dark Side of the Stream. Good job, Jay. I'm 104.7. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio, Dark Side of the Stream, episode 192, discussing the Brat Pack documentary. So before we get into the whole typecasting of the Brat Pack, what I asked you what your favorite member was. What was your favorite Brat Pack-esque movie?
I would say Breakfast Club. I really enjoyed that one.
Breakfast Club's your favorite?
Yeah, I had my kid watch it just recently as well.
It's crazy that
it holds up.
Let me ask you, did she get like the social hierarchy and how that's, and how even now, 40 plus years later, guess what? It's exactly the same.
Yep. Same issues, same. I mean, the only thing now is
social media and internet and how fast everything is,
things like that. But it's basically, when you get down to the core of it, same high school drama, and
how quickly people can just I guarantee you those guys are very thankful that cell phones and recording and social media didn't exist in 1984.
Oh, I'm thankful.
Extremely thankful it didn't exist in 1997. But again, I mean, or at least like it does now. But yeah, I would probably have to go with The Breakfast Club, because it's just such a well-written movie about the hierarchy of high school and really how, especially, there's like this part of growing up, I think, that we all have to do, or at least some of us do, when we get to a point where you look at people and you have to realize that, oh, this guy might be this way because of something that you really don't have any idea about. Like the most popular kid in school could be acting this way because when he goes home, his dad's abusing him or his mom's abusing him. The goth kid who doesn't talk to anyone had this happen to them, or they go suffer through. I mean, because we all know that Allie was severely depressed, so like she just needs to be medicated. You know what I mean? Like you could go and you have all these cases, and I'm not saying that people that act like that is justified, but it also helps, I think, as people and human beings, to give us perspective that it's not that big of a deal, and we make it such a huge deal in the thing. But when you look at it, we're a lot more similar.
Right. When you strip everything away, when it all comes down to it, we're the same people, and they all get along. And
for John Hughes to write that in his, I mean, early 30s, late 20s,
it's a
early
great
30s,
movie, man.
That's a very, very wise thing to see. Especially, I mean, we all realize that later on down the line, but again, it's one of those things that it comes with wisdom. And I think The Breakfast Club just really hits that on the nail. So I'd agree with you that. So I kind of squeezed over your tease a little bit, but yes, in the documentary, you do see that some of them, while the Brat Pack term comes from an article, I think it was in New York Times
something like that.
New York Magazine. Reporter. Anyway, they hung out together. They'd go party together at the Hard Rock Cafe.
Young, good-looking, famous, rich. Of course, you're
in the clique.
Run the show, man.
And some of them were cool with it. Some of them were not, because they felt like,
some of them, I felt like it kind of just ruined their career.
It typecast them and put them in this thing, which was interesting because you hear child actors talk about like getting typecast into being a kid forever, and then you never see them again because they can't make that transformation. Right. The same thing kind of happened to these as teenagers, some of them really had to work hard to kind of get beyond that.
Yeah, a few pulled through, and a few kind of tuned out. It looked like.
Then got it early and said, I don't want to have anything to do with it.
Yeah.
We'll get to more next. Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens back in the studio, Dark Side of the Stream, episode 192, discussing the Brat Pack documentary. So as with all stories, there are some not so good things, and the fact that some of these kids were minors and doing a copious
a lot of drugs and booze, of course.
Obviously,
a lot of bad touching. Probably
Rob Lowe had a sex tape at one point. We all know what happened to Charlie Sheen. Back to that high school photo I saw of him and Emilio. It just blows my mind that you're looking at this kid and then you're like, you know what, buddy? 35 plus years from now, you're going to be HIV positive and a former crack abuser.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's amazing how they all splintered off different directions. Like I said, but Rob Lowe seems to be the real normal one out of the bunch.
Going back, it's funny because like, I guess a couple of years ago, Emilio obviously has been frustrated with the persistence of that name, saying that term will be on my tombstone. It's annoying because Brad Pitt, Clooney, and Damon have worked together more than any of us have.
And they didn't get it.
We just made 2 movies and somehow merged into something else. But that's just what the media does. I mean, on one hand, I get where he's coming from, but at the same time, you gotta also kind of be like thankful that this helped you, right?
I would have accepted it and ran with it.
Oh, hell yeah, you'd still be running with it, my friend.
Yeah.
But again, it's all subjective. I think it just kind of shows you where the world was in this period. It's unfortunate that we don't really have teenage movies like this anymore. Do we?
No, it was a period in time that came and went.
But what the 80s and 90s did, though, I mean, there are tons, even the early 2000s, like, I'm sure there were, but there really hasn't been any. Is it that just because they're all like, screw it, they don't watch movies anymore, give them a 1 minute reel on YouTube?
I don't know. Yeah, you're right.
There really hasn't been any like good coming of age 2000s, 2010s,
right?
Anything like that. Let's just remake something else. Let's go remake Days of Confused.
Well,
let's go remake the Breakfast Club.
Right. That's what's coming.
I guarantee you.
Because these big studios no longer have the money to take a chance on something original, so that's why they keep remaking.
That's what they say, but then you see them put money behind other movies that are like, why would you put a dime behind this?
I know. Planet of the Apes 9.
Yeah, like
okay. Cool. I didn't see one.
the apes are still there.
Apes are still talking.
The apes are still hunting.
All right.
All right, great. We'll see you at 10. We'll be back more with our ratings on the Brat Pack next Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave. Mike the Intern, Jay Stevens, 2 burnouts on 104.7 The Cave. It is Dark Side of the Stream, episode 192, discussing the Brat Pack. So how many candles would you give this documentary?
It was great. I enjoyed it a lot, Mike. It was a good pick. It was a nice, easy watch. I hate it when you see guys wearing masks in a documentary, but obviously it was probably filmed during that time. But I'm like,
that was kind of weird. Because then I was like, well, maybe it just took them 4 years to get all these interviews together.
I think that's what it did.
Which is probably the case.
I'll be happy when this is all behind us eventually.
But at the end of the day,
I love the documentary. It's good. 4. I'll give it a 4.
I thought it was funny because we talked about it, and then about a day or two later, he's like, you watch that yet? It was great. I mean, he was pumped.
It was awesome.
Super pumped. That's great.
Great to see what everybody's doing now, and
again,
nice.
You probably have a lot more tie to it because that was you. That was your high school.
Yeah, that was my era, man. It was my era.
I'm more in line of Saved by the Bell and what kids were doing.
Yeah, I was not.
Either way, next week is your pick. What are we gonna watch?
Yeah, and I can't believe we didn't do this one already, but I asked you and you said no. It's a documentary. It's free. You can find it out there. It's The Man Who Saved the World, and it's about a Russian, like a general or something.
He was basically an engineer on a sub outside of Cuba.
And it was his job to press the button. And he saw incoming missiles, and he was like, "I'm not buying it. Let's wait. And it's crazy, man. Yeah. Literally. And this was in the peak of like tension between Russia and us. That one, not this round.
And maybe
the previous round in the 80s.
How we're living in a simulation.
Yeah,
Either way, that's what you'll find out next. You can watch these live on Facebook or YouTube, 9 a.m. on Thursday. Listen to them for free as a podcast on our 104.7 The Cave app, or live in the studio during the 9 a.m. or 6 p.m.
Or invite us over for movie night, popcorn.
Yeah,
on you.
And make sure you have plenty of orange soda for Jay.
No, I don't drink soda.
That's Jay Stevens reminding you we watch movies.
That's what we do.
So you don't have to. It's Dark Side of the Stream on 104.7 The Cave.